We are live. Right now, we are waiting for Lauren to join us. And while we do that, I will talk to you, basically. That's what I'm going to do. I will talk to you and we will find. Let's see. We will talk about what we're going to do this day. Skadoosh. There we go. Um, so yeah, there's a lot of things to cover. There's a lot of things to talk about, as there usually are. But in this case, I have a few things that is really pressing, like really happening right now, basically. And I think it's important to talk about. You know, I think that everyone who's on a journey is on a journey and should be respected to be on that journey. So today I will share a little bit about the question. What is the question, you might ask? Well, we're gonna get into that. It is very much about how we see the universe, how we see the energy within the universe, and how we can use this to create our own reality. Let's see, jump on in. I love the whole. I love the randomness almost, or the flexibility of this. Right now, you're watching my face, right? You're looking here. You're looking at me talking to you inside of what we call the antechamber. The beauty of this is that whenever people come in, there is no friction. They just jump on in. Is that too dark? I do like to be able to see as I'm doing this as well. We will talk about things that, as I said, kind of helps shape the universe. At least for me, it made everything different. But I'm not going to spoil anything because here she is, introducing the one and the only, Lauren Savlunov. Never done that before, but she always comes in with a little. Hi. She always comes in with a little dramatic effect, like pitch to black, wait for a bit, and then, hey.
I love that.
Yeah.
Hello.
No
Hello.
mystique, big mistake.
Very excited. So
Same
we
here.
are we are live. We are talking about the things.
We're talking about the things, and I have a few things to talk about you with.
Okay.
Yeah, it has been an interesting week. I have not been
Mm.
really responsive for anyone because there has been so much happening at once. So let me just click that button. There we go. There has been so many things happening at once that it has been hard to focus, right?
Mm.
But it all ties into, as usual, it ties into everything that we're talking about, and it's really like, why? You know, what is it about that thing? I can be, I know I'm a bit vague right now, but I
Mm.
promise it's kind of for a reason. But it is the thing. It is the question.
I love it.
Yeah, but see
Yeah.
the question is with several aspects. It's a very interesting way of seeing the universe, kind of. Because when I started, I had one thing that kind of got me into a lot of new things. It sprouted a new way of thought. It opened up doors that I wasn't really ready to go for. So if we were to open this antechamber with this, I don't know. I think it would be really interesting to hear your thoughts on this. So I'm going to give you a little context, a little precursor into what the question is in this case. If people ask me, how do you explain what do you do, or how do you, for someone who does not know anything, open up for the possibility to learn, or whatever the case may be. Or maybe you're just sitting in a coffee and you're having a coffee with someone and they're just complaining, or they're talking about things that is like, but if you had this insight, this would not be a topic that we discuss right now.
Mm.
So one of the questions, and this I think I have like three or four different questions here just to get some context around it. The first one is, what is the energy that makes all things grow? So that's one
Mm.
thing. That's just one person's, you know, perspective on the question. My question, I'm not sure if this is what's going to come up right now, but if it is, where are your thoughts when you are not thinking of them? This is another question that goes into kind of the same thing. And then, just to throw people off a little bit, why do we make ourselves small? Yes, it's weird, but it actually has some similarities, which we will discover
Uh-huh.
together. And the last one,
Hmm. Hmm.
why do we, across all practices, value confession? What is it about the fact of sharing whatever keeps you back
Mm.
that opens
Yeah.
up? Yeah. So that's the question. I was wondering,
Yeah.
what do you think?
Oh, you're gonna. I need the bullet points. I'm gonna forget all the questions.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
So what's coming up? I want to go backwards. I really like. All right. Why do we, across all practices, value confession? So first of all, oh, I love this question. I want to. Is that okay? We start here.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Go for any. Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, because so confession, what is the definition of confession
Yeah.
first? We can have lots of definitions of that. Um, the lens in which I see it through when we are living our lives, creating things, especially the people in our world who are like actively building, actively creating things, want to create an impact. We often come across the internal, some people will call them blocks. I don't even like to say that. I don't even like to recognize them as, because I feel like they are actual portals. But that portal of shadow, of the things that are hidden, right? When we are walking around hiding, this could also go into why do we make ourselves small?
Exactly.
Um, but there's that element of the hidden realm, which can be multiple things. The hidden realm can be, I don't like to put things in positive and negative, but sometimes our mind will do that. The positive realm can also, be hidden energy and things that you can't see that aren't, um, necessarily like right in front of you to touch, although yes and no. But the hidden realms of shadow, the hidden realms of shame. Shame is such a big one. Like,
Yeah.
I should have, I should be. And so the act of confession, at least applying it to my world, because if you take like, let's say religious confession, little different, lot different. But in terms of confessing, it's like allowing that vulnerability and that wound and that what was hidden, what was shamed, what felt taboo to actually be seen, and through the seeing of the thing and the witnessing of the thing by someone else especially is incredibly empowering and transformative. It's illumination.
Yeah.
So this is how I see, in a nutshell, confession.
I love it. That is beautiful. Yeah, absolutely. And I like the why do we make ourselves small ties in perfectly because it's if you are making yourself small, you're not aware of the things that you haven't illuminated yet. So to confess to whatever it is opens up. But then, where are your thoughts when you're not thinking of them? What is the energy that makes all things grow? So this goes way into the core, like way. I have not been
Mhm.
able to find more in the core than the one that I have, which is where your thoughts are when you're not thinking of them. Like, what are thoughts? Where are they when they're not ruminating? And what can they do? So, for me, it's one of those huge questions. I want to ask you, do you have one of those openers that would just
Like,
blow people off almost? Like, have them go, huh, I have not thought of that before.
Um, yes and no. It is the most simple question,
Mm.
but throws if you actually desire to answer in its fullness, it I've watched it throw people s into a loop, like, throw people off, just simply asking, "What do you actually want?"
Yeah. And actually being the key word, because people can say what they want all the time, but what is it that
Mhm.
you actually
Mm,
want beyond those things?
yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah.
That's the key. That's the key to so many things, to satisfaction, to connection, to, your own magnetism, to creating what you wanna create, to collapsing time, because so many people will be, tangled in a web of what things should look like or should be, and they don't even
Yeah.
realize it, right? And they're acting not on, like, the wellspring of their genius, and then they're creating things, and what's happening is they're creating things on a just a shoddy foundation,
Mm.
and then they get to a point and, like, there's a lot of people who are really good at creating, and the foundation is shaky, and one day it's like they've reached a point where they've amassed, some kind of success or whatever that looks on the outside, which they were like, "I wanted this." Um, yeah, but they forgot the actually that part
Yeah.
where it is no longer actually satisfying, fully, like, full body, "Fuck yes, this is what I'm here to do. This is fulfilling my life purpose. This is, like, something that's living in my body and my bones," right? So yeah, that's that question. Um, and I think, yeah, that's like the main question for the genius activation.
Mm.
Um, where I've had people tell me that they needed to stop because it was that powerful,
Yeah.
and I was like, "This is really the only question I'm asking in there." I was like, "What do you want? What do you actually want?"
Yeah.
And that can really, but that's a good thing. I think it's a really good thing if you have a response to that, because then there's something in there that you're actually attuned to that is the source of your true desire that just wants to come out. And it's, your choice whether you're going to acknowledge it or waste a whole lot of time.
Yeah. What do you actually want?
Mm. You want the list?
I
I
would
got a
love the
list.
list.
Well, exactly what I'm doing now, like what I've signed up for,
Yeah. Nice.
I've
Why?
realized is what I want. If you would
Yeah.
have asked me a couple weeks ago, I'd be like, "Oh, I want this many visionaries in Black Diamond, and I wanna create some kinda impact in the world."
Yeah.
Yes, yes. Um, yeah, but what I actually want is this, like, being able to be fully embodied, being able to live and express and have conversations like this. Like, I've been on calls all morning with extraordinary freaking people,
Mm.
and to feel so solid in my knowing and my beingness in anything that I desire to cast my eye upon or do or create, that's what I want. That to me is highly
Beautiful.
satisfying.
Why?
It just is.
I like that. That's a valid answer.
It's funny, it's like there's a certain level of inquiry where I'm like,
It is.
it just is. Like, it's just like I feel it and then I move and I
Mm.
feel it and then I do it and then I feel it and then yeah, and so I've sort of like come to a point where I've almost like there's a blank void space that happens
Yeah.
that I stop. Like there was that question, who are you when you're whatever that question was about the thinking and the thoughts, and like my
Mm.
answer is like I don't think about it.
Yeah.
I actually don't think about it. Um because I had spent so much time in my head. I had spent like, in the intellectual realms and spinning those threads and entangling myself, and I'm not saying that that's being intellectual is bad, but there just comes to a point where there's just a
Too
knowing
much.
in your body, and I've just been exploring, like, what things unnamed, right? Like, things unlabeled. I think
Mm.
it's a very kind of Western thing to try and categorize and label things. I don't know. It's like a primordial soup energy that just exists. It's
Yeah.
there because yeah.
Yeah. I agree. And I think that, my question of where are your thoughts when you're not thinking of them is the prerequisite, or it's like the opener for a story that I've been working on for years. I have not still to this day been able to really communicate it
Mm,
in the way I want, because in the beginning it was like, and that should, and maybe, but now it's more of a,
yeah,
that's based on everything that I've tried to figure out to debunk the fact that you are the universe observing yourself through yourself. And because of that, anything is possible. And just
yeah.
starting with your thoughts, where are they?
Mhm,
What are they? What do you want them to
mhm.
be? And how can you just create whatever?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's where magic
yeah,
comes in.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's home for magic.
yeah.
I
I
like
w-
it. Mhm,
I have a
yeah.
few of
Why
those.
is it taking you so long, though? Why is it taking you so long?
That's a good
You
question.
said something a couple
It became so big, I guess
Mm,
we talked about this briefly. It started with a campfire, and then now it is
mhm,
so freaking immeasurably big. And then when people come in and they see it, and they ask me questions based on what they see and what they have already been experiencing, sometimes those questions points to something that I haven't released or haven't said or haven't done anything because it's part of a, way, way in the future kind of plan. But when they see it, then I'm like, that means it's bigger, right?
yeah,
It can be even more expensive. And then we've been, this has been going on since you and me met. It was owning that fact, stepping up to that role, and knowing that it's going to be, and then also letting go. So when people come
yeah,
in and they see something and they are clearly a piece of the machinery that I'm not able to fulfill without sacrificing somewhat or another, having that to kind of build upon each other, when I found that surrender, it just became bigger. It just expanded exponentially, and it's
yeah.
it's hard to kind of keep that back. So why hasn't it started yet, or why haven't I? I can't believe I'm right here where I'm at right now because so many things have been created and still it has not started.
Mm,
It's so weird. It's paradoxical, the entire thing. So
yeah.
yeah, but I've been on fire this week. Something has been,
Yep.
yeah, something has been
Tell me
waking
about it.
up.
Mhm,
Yeah, and I'm
mhm,
excited about that because with that comes a whole bunch of new knowing. You know, it just is. That's how it is,
mhm,
and then
mhm. Exactly, exactly.
makes you unfuckwithable, and
Yes, yes, my favorite
still
words.
also kind of overwhelming because from the void, from that blank canvas, you have every single opportunity to do anything at any given point all the time.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like the unlimited options can be
yeah,
yeah, the limitlessness can
it's
also
actually limiting.
feel completely yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes, it's like the paradox of both end,
yeah,
getting too myopic, that's limiting, but yeah, I've had that problem of, like, I see all the things, I see too many things, like,
yeah,
what do you choose?
yeah. So what
But
do you
also,
choose?
whatever you choose is right. Whatever
Exactly.
you choose, there's just the fear of, "Oh, if I choose, I'm going to get it wrong."
Mm,
That happens to a lot of people. I see that in clients too, where I don't wanna go in this direction, like, Why? Because they're afraid they're gonna get it wrong. They're afraid it's gonna screw everything up. They're
Mm,
afraid of rejection, you know? They're afraid of building a thing. They're afraid of their own power, right? Of actually experiencing what they wanna experience, right? And being able
yeah.
to kind of hold that energetically, but you can't get it wrong.
No,
That's the
exactly.
thing. And then
Exactly.
there's another you in another dimension that's chosen something else, and that's also right.
Yeah. I also saw
It
because you
doesn't
have to,
Yeah.
it's the change, and you have to let go of whatever you were for that new thing to
Mm,
come in. A
mhm.
few days ago, I heard the best example. Like I've said before, you have to empty the cup in order to fill it up with something new. But in this case, it was like for your higher self to literally step into your meat vessel, you have to vacate the premises. There are so many things that you have to kind of go out and make
Yeah.
ready. And when it comes
Mhm,
in fully,
mhm.
it's a feeling that can kind of overwhelm, and it can actually just disrupt everything if you are not ready to own up to the fact that, okay, well, you asked for it, here it is,
Yeah.
what you gonna do about it?
Mhm,
Yeah,
mhm.
change.
Yeah,
It's
you about it.
yeah.
That's something I ask a lot. It's like, "Okay, great." I think I posted something today about, frequency needing to be applied. Like, if we're talking about we're in the 3D, like, you have to apply it if you're gonna use it to actually create something,
Mm,
you know? That doesn't always mean that you're, like, doing an action, but it's in your beingness, right? And I think a lot of people think that, "Oh, like, well, I'll just listen to this activation and everything's gonna be changed," or, "You're gonna activate me, so whatever," or, "I'm gonna just meditate and, like, we're good," right? I mean, if that were the case, we would all be whatever,
yeah,
you know, walking around as our higher self. So it's just, like, interesting to see there's, like, a decision-making process that needs to happen. Like, you have to decide. You have to decide to be in this new identity, to fill yourself completely, like, and a lot of people will, and I've done this so much, myself in the past, was, deciding, and then, well, maybe I made the wrong choice. Wait, maybe I should do this. Maybe I should do that, right? And then, like, you're flip-flopping with the energy. It's like,
yeah,
no, it's just so, like, I feel it this week of like, okay, no, this is the next level of deciding and choosing, and that I'm not gonna go back and be like, well, what if I chose that? What if that, you know, then you start looking at all the paths
mm,
again, and then you're not applying it forward, or
yeah,
wherever time goes. Time isn't really a thing anyway, but how we perceive
yeah,
it. Right? It's a whole other conversation.
yeah.
Yeah.
But you said go back. I had
Mhm.
that conversation too this week where it's just Wednesday. That's the thing.
Oh, yeah, I'm like, "Is it? What?"
Yeah,
I know.
it's
In
it's
lifetimes.
it's about going back. Like you can't go back once you have seen the other side. Once you've had the shift and the neurons and the energy and the frequency has gone to that new alignment. Basically, you've
Mhm.
found a new base level. You can't, for the love
Mhm.
of anything, go back. It's
Mhm.
not possible.
Yes.
Yeah. How can you forget something consciously? It doesn't work. You, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I love that practice of, for me, a lot of my work is that illumination,
Mm.
right? And that once you see it, you can't unsee it.
It's like Amazon, FedEx. Yeah.
Yeah.
For those who know, you know.
Exactly.
If you don't, check out that. You can't unsee it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like it just, you don't go back. But I also feel like there's the challenge of that choosing very, very strongly, very, like, anchoring into that choosing in that way is also part of our process,
Yeah.
where we kind of like, um I don't know, when I get here, it's like there are no words really. So you're anchoring in, and you're almost like testing your energetic resilience, let's say, right? Of like you're not necessarily seeing stuff in the 3D. And this is where I see like the calling for visionaries, for you know, people who really want to create the highest impact, because it's the invitation to be able to hold this energetically with such a resilience, which with such a knowing, because when you're creating a big thing,
Mm.
right? Like it just, we've talked about this, right? You're creating it in the dark. No one has ever created before. So visionaries are like working in the dark here. And honestly, like it really pisses me off seeing so many people like collapse or give up or settle. Actually, that pisses me off more, the settling, simply because that was my own pattern, right? So I can
Yeah.
see it exactly. Like, oh, just settle for like the slightly less, or just water this message down a little bit so it's like more palatable, or whatever it is. Or I won't say that because that's going to get canceled, or that's going to create some kind of chaos. Or and yeah, that just feels really present now, of the invitation to choose and then root the fuck in, like ride or die.
Yeah.
But that's how I operate. I mean, you know that.
Hell yeah.
Like sink the teeth in and go. But it's almost like I don't like to say things are like a test. I don't really believe that, but it's in a way like a testing of your metal. Like, can you hold this? Can you um really in integrity continue to move when you see nothing, or it's scary, or it feels like you're floating in the void, or you still see all of these other opportunities and you're okay with the choice that you've made, because you know that essentially you are the creator of this, you are sovereign, you are the one um, crafting and architecting, while at the same time the paradox of like knowing when to stop white knuckling it, when to actually just let go,
Yeah.
when you don't have to do anymore. Like when you're done, let it be co-created. Let the magic fall in, right? There's that aspect of it as well.
I was told that today. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, just do the thing. It's
Mhm.
done. You don't have to build more. I was like,
Yep.
you actually have a good point.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think like that's me too. Like that's and what I see it in a lot of like high performers, high achievers, people who want to build big things. Like we are, our minds are constantly going, we're constantly creating all of these different things, right? There's a million angles, we see a lot, and we feel like the value comes from the more, the creating of the more, the talking more, the
Mm.
showing more, the giving more, right? When actually the value is just number one, the value is you just being.
Mm.
But you don't need more.
To be.
Like,
No.
when is it enough, right?
Yeah.
But I had this asked of me of my mentor, whom you know, and it was a very good question, because I was kind of complaining that I am insatiable.
Mm.
Like it ties into this. Like I'm insatiable. It never feels like enough. I just keep wanting to go more. There's like a fire under my ass. I have all these like ideas. And she was just like, "So are you okay with just knowing that you're insatiable? And can you let that just be, yeah, like be part of your magic?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah." Yeah, I can. Like,
Yeah.
okay. I was like flipping that right into, but yeah, that doesn't mean that, we have to continue to grab and grab and grab. Sometimes it's okay to just like, you're enough.
Yeah.
Just just being. Not thinking about what you need to say, not thinking about who's listening, not thinking about what you're gonna sell, or where you're going next, and being is just enough. Like, that has been proven to me, particularly in the past couple weeks of, like, and I think for you too, because, like, you just come and show up on these things,
Yeah.
right? You're just doing you.
Yeah.
And people will come to you, right? And will be like, "Oh my god, that was amazing," or just that thing that you said was so profound. And you're like, "Yeah, I'm just doing me,"
Yeah.
right? And this week of yeah, I had this thing where I was like walking around, I was gonna go do something else, and all of a sudden, I just had that go live now. I'm like, what? I don't, okay, go live now. I'm like, okay. I ran to, yeah, I ran to my computer. I pressed the live button in the visionary portal, and I went live. And from that, I was just channeling. I don't even know what I was saying. It felt like I was talking so fast. I was just blah, 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 right? And then I went back and watched and I was like, no, I'm like, I actually said some cool things. Didn't remember a damn thing from that. And then people afterward were like, yeah, how can I sign up? How can I be in your world? And I was like, that's interesting.
Yeah,
Whereas before, I would have been like, okay, well, how can I give the most value? How can I, and I would be like, all the notes, right? How can I?
scripting it
And this
out.
is
Yeah,
just
yeah.
go live.
Go live. But
Yeah.
that too, just go live.
Mhm,
I caught myself as well. Like we are very synergistic. Like it's really
mhm.
interesting. I headed out of my office. I was grabbing a bite to eat, and I work from home. I'm a one of those nomads. And as I step out of my office, I was like, just gonna grab some air, watch the horse. And as I did that, I picked up my phone, and all of a sudden, for the first time in I don't know how long, I was live on Instagram. I was like, so I was just stepping out of my office just now to grab a bite to eat, feeling like I was going to say that we've opened some stuff, just a little update, going blah blah blah. Good, see you next time. I was like that.
Yeah.
That was very spontaneous, and it started thoughts, and people started to ask questions. And I guess that's the thing. We're just going with the literal flow, right? And just channeling as it happens.
Mhm,
But
mhm.
to get to that point, you need to face the fear of going live. That's just one of those first things, right? So we're not actually as green as I at least feel sometimes. I feel like I'm a
Yeah.
freaking noob, to quote my son. That's the language they use these days. But
Yep. I
yeah,
know.
but
No.
just going live,
Yeah.
it's one of those things that actually requires some. I don't know what it requires. It requires you being okay with yourself, not caring what other people think.
Yeah.
Like right now, we're
Yes.
live right now, and I completely
Mhm.
forgot. So I was like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Where are we live?
and we're just on YouTube. But I didn't, as you say, would just show up.
Hey,
So
YouTube people.
nobody knows anything about this, which is sometimes people come in at the ass end and they say, "What was this? Why did you just say anything?" Like, psh, psh,
Yeah.
wait, we do
Yeah.
this all the time. You just need to,
Yep.
you're gonna
Mhm.
see the
Mhm.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Creating just
That's
because
right.
we create. We talk about these
Yep.
things. We get a little frequency elevation. We create based on those. Pretty amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That's how we roll. And, sometimes that is the most potent.
Yeah.
And, it's very interesting. Not Yeah, the going live thing, like, that's very interesting because, yeah, even for me, who I'm very used to doing that, just,
Mm.
like, impromptu without I didn't think about the topic. I didn't think about, like, "Here's what I wanna talk about," and I'm like, "Oh, no, we're gonna talk about power."
Mm.
And it's just, like, to have that come through and then to speak on it that way, um, yeah, it just kinda blew my own mind, like, "Well, oh, shit, let it be that easy."
Yeah.
Who knew? But
Yeah.
also, it's like my past, right? I was a performing musician. Like, I have been on stages where crazy shit has happened. And you just keep going, like
Yeah.
nothing nothing happened at all. But there's like a level of vulnerability
Yeah.
that you have when you go live and a level of like of stability that you need, that no matter what is happening in that moment, that you're trusting whatever that message is coming through, that it's reaching the right people exactly as they need it in
Yeah.
time, and that you're trusting essentially your magician. Like, I always channel the things, I always say the things at the right time whenever is needed, and it's like this huge level of self-trust that,
Yeah.
yeah, that you have, right? That is that this really
Owning your shit.
illuminates.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, and, I'm thinking like, okay, what's that next level identity of, what's my iconic identity or what's that whatever, the leader, right? Am I gonna sit there wondering if my message is enough? No. That next level self, fuck no. Am I gonna sit there wondering who's watching? Fuck no. Am
Mm,
I gonna sit there worried about XYZ? No. So then that's what I do. Like, go live now turns into a portal. Go
yeah,
live now turns into money. Go live now turns into like personal satisfaction of feeling so proud of yourself that you trusted yourself that much. And then, after you watch that ripple effect happen, and that's going to continue to happen, right? That
yeah,
live stream lives somewhere. Somebody you have no idea, a couple months down the road finds it and is like, "Oh my god, where have you been all my life?"
yeah.
And, you know, and then you're on another journey.
100%. Speaking of, because
Mm.
I've had a lot of insights watching 23 tour, like me from like April last year. It was really interesting because I was told that my vocabulary has changed and I had to change or I had to check that out. But just to see these videos from before, you went back into your YouTube channel. Have you
Yeah.
reviewed? Have you reviewed some of the
Woo!
videos?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, god. How uncomfortable, but also so much love to
yeah,
myself. So much love for trying so hard,
yeah,
trying so hard, and I realized why people were drawn to me at that time, but, like, the level of overcompensation, the level of me trying to be so excited, for
yeah,
me trying to be like that light worker that I thought I was, which I am not. Um, but I know that you think differently,
yeah,
but I don't identify with
yeah,
the mainstream, Um, yeah, so interesting, so interesting. It felt like, "Who is this?"
yeah.
Because now how I express and what I create is so, um,
Clear.
natural,
Yeah,
you know? Um And not that that wasn't a natural expression at the time because it was a younger version and different things were happening and, yeah, but it was very different. I was like, "Oh my god, why are you so" like, I was just the excitement, but it was kind of a manufactured thing, you know?
yeah,
And yeah, but so much love to myself because that was the beginning of my journey, really showing up in that way and creating a large audience and trying to serve so many people at the same time and whereas now it's yeah it's just it's like a quiet or neutral power of like okay this is how I am all
yeah,
the time, like if we're gonna go out for a drink or if we're gonna take our kids to a park, this is who I am.
yeah,
Whereas that yeah, there was the slight but once again, I'm subtly attuned to my own self, and I can see that, and this is what I do, like, I can
mhm.
see all of what was going on at that time. It's, yeah, very revelatory. So I'm curious about your experience. What was that like for for you?
I have so many. Like I have several different paths. One I started 10 years plus ago, where I was literally just trying to figure out how the heck can I have a little version of me while I'm playing the game, right?
Yeah.
I was a gamer
Yep.
and I tried to
Yep.
do that whole thing. And then I had these talks. The talks were about other YouTubers and what they said. Like that's also interesting. And also the cat aquariums. Cuz I had an aquarium. I was like, "Today we're going to make a cat aquarium." I was like, I guess we start somewhere, right? And then
Yeah, I love it.
yeah, but then we came up to 2017 and I started the 100-day challenge. I had
Mhm.
some I had actually quite a lot of experience behind the camera, but there was no intentionality behind it. There was nothing of any goal. It was just to do this challenge. And I was sitting in this freaking shed. Like this shed with a couch. I don't think the couch was even there at the moment, but I had this horrible little thing outside of my house And I went out there just to record and meditate and just have my own little space. That's where it started. And I saw me and the dreams. It was like, well, I had to choose between a loaf of bread and gas because I only had $3 in my account and I couldn't have both. I was like, I freaking remember that. And then I was
Mhm,
talking about the
mhm.
dreams. I'm going to be a travel vlogger, right? In December, when this challenge ends, I'm going to be in Greece. I'm going to be sitting in some back alley in Athens. I was like, God, you had no idea, did you? Just looking at that dude, I was because that's the funniest point, or that's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
weirdest thing. You see yourself post and pre catastrophe. You know, I
Mhm,
was
mhm.
my life was about to unravel just 40 days
Yeah,
after
same.
that video.
Yeah,
Yeah, I had
yeah.
no idea.
Yeah, you're like, "Oh, they're there." You don't
Yeah.
you
Oh,
don't know when initiation is on the way. Uh-huh,
but
yep.
then you see the shift. Like
Mhm.
you can see in the face, you can see the wisdom
Yeah.
in anything. Like every cell of my body changed. And
Mm.
now, like I was sitting there with notes, long notes, talking about things in a way that I did not know what I did not know. And now, as I know a little bit more, it changed my life again. It keeps on changing. So I want to do these traditions like once a year. I should just go back and just review,
Yeah,
yeah, videos from
yeah,
way back when and just see what happened. That's the,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Oh my god. I almost wanna, like we should play them,
We
but
should. That would be
Yeah,
cool. Yeah.
yeah. Well, it's just so funny. It's like, what you thought then was also, part of the journey and beautiful and pure, and you didn't know what you didn't know. Yeah.
As
And
we
that's
all do.
okay. That was
Yeah.
part yeah, that was part of the journey, you
Yeah.
know? And, yeah, I don't say that everyone needs to, like, go like, I did, like, full on 180 burning everything. That
Yeah.
just was my path. I'm not saying that that's everyone's path, but it's really interesting to see the contrast
Yeah.
because I feel like I'm more me now than I ever have been in my entire life.
Yeah.
Uh, and that feels really great. And that it required that journey. It required that those past versions of myself that, you know, was overgiving and let anybody into my space and made like, I don't know, millions of, videos and freebies and I would go live every Friday. I called it high frequency Fridays. This is
Nice.
like but like it's so unlike the frequency I'm living in right now.
Yeah.
It is light years different from that because I
Yeah.
was just trying to take these templates and just kind of squeeze myself into this little box. And I thought I had to do this and I had to do it this way and I had to present in this way. And um, I did some of the best marketing and ecologies that I ever did during that time, which
Mm.
is now informing me in this moment of how, okay, now I can take that information and distill it. Take it and how do
Yeah.
I want to architect it now? Which is very nice. So I'm starting to do more, a little more of those ecologies. But oh man, and at the same time, I was also following like bro marketers, which is
Yeah.
really funny.
Bro
Like
marketers. Nice.
yes. Oh, yes, and they would have these, like, calls with me too, and I'm like, "Just cut through the crap. Tell me how much is the investment?" And they were like, "What?" Like, I would just be so straight with them, like, "Alright, let's go. What's the next thing?"
Yeah.
But yeah, just like this highly driven, ambitious, like, milking every aspect of the client journey kind of thing, and, but I applied it in my own way, and so I think that journey really helped me to where I am now of, like, creating like what we're doing, creating an immersive client journey,
Yeah.
like, in a very, very unique way that is, like, so satisfying for us and also satisfying for the people on the other end,
Yeah.
because it's no longer, "Let's get leads, let's get whatever," like, this is about humans, this is about transformation, this is about, their journey of coming into themselves that yeah, I love it. I love creating that path. There's still that part of me that that lives on. But yeah, just thinking about that, um, what that looked like and where my attention was,
Mm,
Do you think about that? Like where your
yeah.
attention was in at that time period when you were creating those
Yeah.
things,
I was about
you
to
know?
ask you because I didn't really fully understand or accept or appreciate the power of the why. Like
Mm,
Simon Sinek said it all the time. I was watching these TED Talks, I was reading the
yeah,
books, but that why, it really didn't. I guess the seed was planted, but yeah, where my attention
yeah,
was based on my the weak why I was operating from, because I didn't have a strong reason. I was not prepared to be flogged and dragged through hell naked and barefoot with my hog tied and just on fire while
yeah.
laughing.
While laughing.
I was not prepared. Now,
Yeah, we went through the same initiation, my friend.
yeah, yeah, you need to
Yeah,
go through
yeah,
that before you can
yeah.
really see, okay, this is why I'm
Mhm.
doing it. I'm still doing
Yeah,
it. So there's good. I'm a
yeah,
psychopath or a sadistic,
yeah,
just
yeah.
self.
I often think that, like, are we crazy?
Yeah,
Have we
yeah.
lost our are we crazy? Probably. I think there's a degree of insanity you have to have.
Mm,
A degree of I always talk about the delusion. I
yeah,
love being delusional.
yeah.
Like, don't come at me with fucking reality. I love being delusional because it is that aspect of the creators like you and me and the people around us that this is how we're able to create, this is how we're able to collapse time because we're not distracted by what people believe is reality. We're not distracted by
Mm,
this is the only way. We're not distracted by, and it doesn't mean that we're like bypassing or not actually seeing what's around us. It's just like there's a picking and choosing. Well, does it serve anyone for me to focus my attention
yeah,
here, or can I focus it here, collapse time around it, and change that shit?
yeah,
Not only for myself, right? But for generations to come.
yeah,
That's where I want my eye.
yeah. 100%. Like I thought I was crazy, but then the more and more people I thought
Yeah,
talked
you
to,
are.
yeah, yeah, I absolutely, I'm proud of it as well. But it's like there's a difference between being delusional and being in a complete sense of delirium all the
Yeah.
time. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it's
Absolutely.
like people can say they're God and they can go around and share that to everyone willing to listen,
Mhm.
or you can know that you have the power of God. Basically, you are the creator of your entire reality. So, are you going to own up to that shit? Are you going to actually do it?
Mhm.
Or are you going to just wait for other people to come and worship you? Because that's not going to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to kind of go in there and just be a little delusional, be a little crazy, and create a few new realities. And
Yeah.
yeah, 100%.
Yep.
What's the
Yep.
point of
And
Yeah, oh, you triggered something in me.
go.
Yeah. No,
Go.
it's just what you said there. It's about, are you going to focus on this thing that everyone seems to be focusing on, or are you
Mhm.
going to focus on that thing that's just going to wipe it out?
Yeah.
People are not going to even know it was there once you are
Yeah.
finished focusing on the thing you're doing. And because
Mhm.
of that,
Yep.
you can sit there with your coffee while your house is on fire saying, "This is fine. I'm going to make this happen." Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as you got coffee, that's you're fine. Yeah, agreed, agreed. There's a lot of conversation that are happening that I've noticed that people, even really, I don't want to say it's just like intelligent people, but people who I'm very surprised get still entangled with those conversations and this is toxic, that is toxic. I'm leaving the coaching industry.
Yeah.
I don't want to be this, so I'm going to just completely disassociate. And it's like, no, actually, if you're here to be a leader, just get in there and freaking lead. That's how you change it. It's not you actually try and change it. You actually just lead.
Yeah.
You just become the leader. You just become it. You
Yeah.
just do the thing that you actually and be the thing that you actually are at the highest level and degree. And that changes everything.
Yeah.
People see that just by you, right? Existing, people see it and are like, holy shit, this is possible.
They look
They
completely
change.
unaffected by the thing that I'm thinking
Mhm.
about. Yeah. Be the change you want to see in the world.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. That's like when I think a lot about leadership, this is, to be honest, obviously I don't have all the answers. I don't have all the answers for myself. I'm still going into the deeper, 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 deeper why.
Yeah.
Um, because, you think it's one thing, but then you uncover another facet of yourself. And it's like, oh, well, wow, okay. So maybe there's something more there. And going through those layers.
Yeah.
And also go through the layers of shadow and like what we believe is in the way and what we believe is possible and who we believe we are. Like I had an intense experience. So I don't let anybody like work on my energy.
Of
I've
course
I've
not.
allowed
Yeah. You
yes.
don't. Yeah. We should talk about that once. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, and I've had, like, people come into my space and try and read my energy, and I will shut that off. I'm
Yeah.
like, "Listen, if you're a healer, number 1, if you're um, in any respect, right, it's a sacred thing,
It's an
and you're
invitation
also
only.
diminishing yeah, I mean, you're diminishing also the potency of your
Yeah.
own work.
Yeah.
So I've had people like, "Oh, but I'm really sensing." No, like,
Yeah.
I cut that off right away. I'm like, "Don't do that, and no." So there's only a couple of people, literally 3 people
Yeah.
in my whole life that I've allowed to access my energy. Um, and so it was actually a two-day kind of thing, so a 2-week sort of thing. Um, and yeah, so I let them access my energy and it was a journey. And so
Mm.
like I went into the journey of my own shame, like a pool of black oil. This is like super vulnerable. I'm liking it. Um, it's like black oil, a
Yeah.
pool of shame. And I was going through this journey and it was like up to my neck at one point. And then at some point we're like, okay, let's go under. And I'm actually
Wow.
like still feeling it now, like a physical
Yeah.
and I went under this pool of shame because we're like drilling down like what are the things? What are my beliefs? What am I holding my body? What is that? Um and getting onto the water and being submerged in the shame and watching
Mm.
myself flail. I had a visceral reaction like I almost vomited.
Wow.
That's how I almost purged. Um And for me, like, I am crazy. I love it because to
Yeah.
me, like, I've hit a root of a thing and I'm like, "Yes, yes." I have not been the same since. I shifted immediately that day. That's when, like yeah, when I had 2 clients just come and, like, pay me immediately, like, right
Yeah.
after that, where
Yeah.
it was like, of course, this is, like, okay, and then all these people coming into my space, like, okay, of course, but yeah, it was that experience of going so deeply into the shadow thing, almost wanting to vomit, watching my own that ego self kind of like flail and fight and
Wow.
fight and fight and fight and then be able to just like come to the center of knowing of who I am and that experience is amazing. I left with the yeah, with I am knowing.
Yeah.
That was the statement. Like I am knowing and I am now the knowing expressed. Like that is what a part because
Yeah.
there's more to that, but that's part of that experience. So it's just really interesting to see like when we battle these things and we flail against these things that we believe we are, shame for I don't know, not being farther along or shame for whatever we think that is, um being able to not just like skim the surface, but go into
Mm.
that black oil slick and then come out of it like just let's say clean, but like shame, I don't think that's it's not dirty, but it's
Shit.
just like that's distorted, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
how powerful. Um and I'm just like watching like this whole week unfold after unlocking this kind of thing. And I'm like, yeah. And knowing that you can come back to center, like this pure, call it oneness, um, and then I'm able to, like, share this, like, this is live, I don't know who's gonna see this, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm completely neutral
Yeah.
to it, where there were so many things in the past I would, kinda hide or, like, skirt around or, being vulnerable was not really something I was, like, interested in doing, and now yeah, it's completely neutral, and it
Wow.
feels very, like, really powerful that I can go there. And then
Yeah.
people see that, and it's
Yeah.
like, "Okay, then we can do more work together
Yeah.
because I'm also more open to that experience." So, yeah, it's been a really interesting it's been an interesting week already. And
Wow.
like you said, what? It's only Wednesday.
That's also this like I'm probably one of the first of all, thank you so much for sharing that, acknowledging you for that because I saw this whole you emerging from a black pool of sludge and just in
Yeah.
white, like
Mhm.
a
Mhm.
completely pristine whiteness
Thank
coming out
you.
of that.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was cool.
yeah,
Also,
yeah.
I also have some experience with the calm and the chaos, knowing after
Uh-huh.
everything just settles. That's powerful. But
Mhm. Yeah, yeah.
god damn, no, there's too much. There's too good. Yeah, I'm one of those few people that can sit right here on a Wednesday, think it's Thursday, see that is
Yeah.
Wednesday, and almost cry out of joy. Seriously, I've had a few of those. Oh my god, it's Wednesday. I have like 24 extra hours. It's insane because time is
I love it.
flying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's moving really, really fast. I think that's and also really slow.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like
Yeah.
it's the end of the week now. I
Yeah.
feel like, and I was just yeah, like, I went out with a friend on a Monday. It was strange when we went out, and I was telling her about this experience. I'm like, "This is really weird." I'm
Yeah.
like, going out talking about a pool of shame and sludge, and because she was like, "How was your day?" And I was like, "Well, let me tell
Yeah.
you." And then I went from that to, yeah, having calls with, like, clients and, like, just witnessing, or actually past clients witnessing, what's coming up for them now and just kind of, like, holding the space and being like, "Cool, I know," and then going on to the next call and just whatever it's a little bit of shape shifting, right?
Mm.
Whatever's needed in that moment, cool, and do that, and then the next thing, I'm like, "Okay, now I'm so completely vulnerable and just, like, naked, and somebody's gonna, like, do their work, energy work, and, um, I'm swimming in the sludge, I'm connecting to, like, the shadowy parts, and then yeah, and then I'm watching, like afterwards, having a nourishing meal, just watching, like, Ripley on Netflix,
Yeah.
and dreaming about Venice, and then I go pick up my daughter, right, and, um, then we have some cool conversations about stuff, and it's just like that's the natural ebb and flow of life, and already that day feels like a lifetime.
Yeah.
Already I have transformed in about 1,000 different ways. Like, I love that.
Magic.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. I feel like that was a good. We're at the hour mark.
Oh my god.
Time flies.
Right? How'd that happen? Amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah, yeah. So, to be continued as always. When is our next one? I forgot already.
I think it's on Tuesday.
Are are we not allowed to announce them? Are we just gonna
I think we're just gonna
comment?
when we announce them, we put it into the timeline. So go ahead,
Mhm,
announce. We
mhm,
have one on Tuesday, and then we have one the 22nd also, and we have one on, but that's not for the antechamber, on
mhm,
Wednesday next week. We also have the
mhm.
core, right? Yeah.
Yes, which I
Yeah.
think we should talk about before we go.
We should talk about the core. Yeah.
Mhm, mhm.
It is kind of where all the things are.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So, considering this is the antechamber, this is like the waiting room, but also kinda like a play space. I
Yeah.
kinda look at it as like, come in and play and have a conversation and see where it goes. Um, and then leading into the core, which yeah, that being the round table that we are creating
Mm.
for the leaders, the visionaries, the conscious delusional disruptors as as
Ooh,
we are,
delusional disruptor. Yeah.
delusional disruptors. Yeah, for we're here for the highest expansion. So I think just putting out the invitation of like whoever's intrigued by this message,
Yeah.
whoever's intrigued by connecting on a very high level with other creators who want to leave an impact and legacy of some kind on this planet, that they should reach out to either one of us
Yeah.
to explore the core.
Yeah. And also, just some people are limiting themselves a lot. I think that we're going to shift the universe a little bit.
Yeah,
Literally, yeah. It's not just going to be a
yeah,
planet. We're literally talking about
yeah,
energies that are beyond time and space, and that excites me a little bit. Gotta gotta admit, it's
yeah.
uh, it's an interesting thing to be talking about, especially with people who are actively living them.
Yeah,
Yeah. For more information, you can go to thelegacyforce.com/AC for the Antechamber.
this is amazing.
So it always is. It's always a pleasure. It's fun, and we should keep on doing those.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, I think we will. We'll
I
see you
think
next
so.
week.
I'll see you
All
next
right.
week. All right. Have a
All right.
great rest of your day and keep it magical.
You
Or
too.
I
I
shall.
will. You too. All right.
Bye bye.
Bye.